Secure the bag, yeah, that's the brand, and we get to the bag.
What's going on, family? It's your man Tasteway here once again. And of course, today we're going to be breaking down Bitcoin. Now, before we get into the Bitcoin chart and where I see things going, I want to welcome all of my people, all my new people, especially. And I actually want to dive into what we're going to be doing for my beginners. I am about to start a beginner course that's totally free. It's going to be here on YouTube, here inside of the free Discord. That way you get pinged and dinged as soon as it comes up. Hey, you get the first dibs on watching, right? So all of my free Discord members, you're going to be able to get access to this first. So what I'm going to be doing is going through my ebook. Let's check it out real quick, and then we'll get into the basically breakdown of what I see happening maybe over the next year with Bitcoin. So let's look at the ebook first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, family. So of course, I've had this ebook for a while. If you've been following me for a while, you know I've been stock trading for a while, and I've helped a lot of people. But what I want to do is, because I know that reading ebooks, they're not fun. People just tend not to want to go through them all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this ebook fully and do videos, basically breaking down this ebook and breaking down how to start your broker. I got a lot of people who are starting out with this trading thing, and they want to get into trading, investing, long-term, short-term. They want to do these things like seriously. And they have questions about like small stuff. Tay, what broker do I get into? Tay, what's an options contract? Right? How does this thing work? Strike price, call option, put option. What is this stuff? Right? What about charting? Tay, I see you working on charts and doing all this craziness. Can you break that down for me? We're going to do videos, and I'm going to break these videos down by each section, right? And I'm going to explain all of this stuff, and we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it fully. I'm going to break this thing down. So I just want to show you this as a heads up to say, hey, stay alert, because I'm going to be dropping these beginner videos and making this thing pretty much the way I teach. I like to break it down to its most simple form. So no matter who you are, if you're a 2-year-old or 80-year-old, I can make it sound somewhat understandable to you. Why? Because I know this stuff so much, in my heart of hearts. I've been doing it so long that I can explain it in a way that most people can't explain this thing, because you have to know this stuff in and out to be able to make it super simple as far as teaching it goes. So I'm going to teach it, and I'm going to do it in my way because it seems to work with a lot of my students. Okay. So we're going to have some fun with this, and it's all going to be free. I'm just doing this. I'm doing this because I'm blessed personally. I have the ability to trade, really well. And I want to just, kind of give back and just say, hey, look, here's some information that can get you started on a really good journey, right? So this is just me just giving back and just saying, hey, do your thing. I'm blessed. I have a beautiful family. I have, everything is, pretty much the way I want it. So, hey, check it out. All right. So here you go. We're going to do that. So over the next week or so, what I'll be doing is teaching this stuff, and I'll be using it as a beginner. I'll be using this stuff to also break down the morning market watch, right? Every market watch we'll do, I'll take some of the beginner stuff and I'll actually break that stock down using something we went over that day. So for example, let's say, I don't know, we'll get into like candles and signals, right? So maybe we'll do something with like Doji candle. I'll break down one of the stock on one of the market watches. I'll break down the stock and I'll show you how the Doji candle played out, right? That's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use that and show you, hey, Doji plus red candle equals bearish. And here you see there was a Doji candle with a bearish candle that followed, and we made a move down. I'm going to teach you in real time what these things mean, and then show you in real time on the charts. We call it back testing as well, where we take it back and say, okay, we know this now. Now let's look at, previous times that's happened. That's what we're going to be doing here. All right. So make sure you are in that free Discord so you can get access to this, all of this information. When I drop this beginner mentorship program, I want to make sure everybody gets access to it. Right. So make sure you're in the free Discord, and we're going to have some fun with this. Okay. So let's get back into BTC. Let's break this chart down. And let me deliver some of this bad news, depending on who you are. All right, family. So we're going to start on the BTC macro chart, which is going to be the weekly chart for today. Usually I do this on the monthly chart when I'm looking at like channels, things like that. But I like to show you exactly where the actual stock is going, or where the chart directional patterns are going on the chart or playing out on the chart. And what I'm seeing here on the weekly chart, and a lot of people are gonna hate me for this. I won't lie, but I am doing this because I want to be one of the first, if not the first, who gives this price target on Bitcoin. Okay. Or these price targets, because I see it potentially going in a few places, right? So essentially, this channel, y'all know I love my channels. This is what we do in day trading, especially when I was day trading penny stocks, we survived on moving support and resistance. And when you take it from a minute or 1 minute chart, and then you start providing or using channels and moving support and resistance, that's what these are. These are moving support and resistance lines. Why? Because you see long term, look at this. These have been respected since 2017, right? So it started kind of in here, and it just resistance, got above it, support. And we'll get more, for my beginners, we'll get more into support and resistance and what that means. Look at that resistance down here, great support. Even here, you blew through resistance, you held it as support long term, right? This is a great line. Now, this bottom line being support, I do think we want to make it back down here, right? Now, if it just hits the line somewhere in the next year, we're going to $10,000, right? That is just my simple analysis as far as support and resistance. Now that you have made it back into this channel, if you want to continue to hold this channel as support and resistance, yes, my friends, Bitcoin will be coming back over the next year, maybe 2 years. It will be coming back to about $10,000, $11,000 if it wants to hold this as support. Once again, I just follow the charts. There are a lot of Bitcoin fanboys out there who are going to hate that. Why? Because they're expecting Bitcoin to go to $1 million over the next 2 years, right? Because we're getting ready to start the next cycle is here. It's getting ready to go bullish. Oh, we know. But let me tell you something. If we are going to follow the charts and not emotions or not biased behaviors, then the charts are telling me that we're going to bounce between $50,000 in this channel and as low as 10, 11,000 in this channel, right? Now, if it breaks back out of this channel, cool, right? Cool. Now, me personally, I'm going to tell you this. If we are just talking about this channel, as far as I'm concerned, this channel alone does not provide $1 million price target. No time soon. No time soon. Literally, if Bitcoin wants to range in this, okay, this is what can be considered a megaphone pattern, because why? This looks like a megaphone, right? It starts small and then it goes out. Now, if we're going to bounce in between this megaphone pattern, I mean, literally, it's going to take us, 10 plus years just to get to, I don't know, what is that, 102,000? So can I justify us going to $100,000 per coin, on Bitcoin? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen in the next year or two? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Unless it wants to break out of this chart or this channel, right? Now, it's possible. Can it happen? Yes. It's done it before. Look at that. It broke out of the channel before. Cool, right? Now, what we can do is we can say, okay, Tay, let's say it breaks out of this channel again, and then it follows the preceding or the next level of resistance. What we would do is just something simple like this. I keep my charts very simple. Look at that. Resistance, 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 resistance. What that tells me is that if we decide we want to get froggy and leap on out of this channel, then what will happen is you will bounce off support and resistance in this channel, right? Now, okay, let's see if that takes us to $1 million, Tay. No, it does not. In the next 10 years, if this thing gets above this first channel and wants to get back into this one and bounce, okay, what do we get in the next 10 years? $200,000 per coin. So once again, I do not see $1 million per coin. And I have never in the history of charts seen charts just blow out of the chart and never come back and never support any, channel or price action trends. No, it never happens like that. So no, I do not see, for anybody who's watching this, I'm sure you are probably a fan of Bitcoin, but let me tell you now, I do not see it going over $200,000 per coin over the next 10 years. I just don't see it. Is it possible? Yes, anything is possible. But is it likely? No. Based on the charts. And people told me I was wrong when I called Bitcoin coming back down to 10,000, or excuse me, coming back down to 20,000. People called me wrong when I said Tesla was going to fall. And all of this stuff is just based on charts. I don't care about the emotions of it. I don't care what you really think it's going to do. I don't really care about that. I am a chartician. I am a master at breaking down these charts. That's what I do, right? And with that being said, this is where I see it going. These are going to be your parameters. So we have lows as low as 9,000, and we could break out of this channel. We could break out of this channel. We've seen wicks. They call them wicks. So when it gets here, it comes down, and then price action drives it back up and then holds this line. So we could wick down. We could wick down. That's and I'm going to actually show you a price target today of the wick down. Right now, I'm not gonna lie, my paid students, they don't want me to show this, and I'm not gonna teach it, but I'm gonna show it because I want to be the first one to show you where Bitcoin is going. Right on the downside, I think I'm gonna be the only person who's given this price target, or maybe one of the only. But when it hits that price target, I need this documented on YouTube. I need it documented on the internet. So when people say, hey, who called this price target on Bitcoin first, or who called this price target, you can look it up and there will be my beautiful face. All right. So that's why I say, yes, I want to put this down and kind of show where I see Bitcoin going. All right. So I just gave you really broad levels, right? We have as low as 26,000. We have as high as 200,000 over the next 10 years. That is my range. All of this $1 million mumbo jumbo, it is BS. As a matter of fact, anything over 200 and anything over really 205,000 over the next 10 years is just hoopla. It's just BS. It's just hopium, if we will, right? We call that hopium. You smoke, we say we're smoking hopium. You're hoping and wishing that it's going to go much higher than anything can show or justify. This does not justify anything above $200,000, right? So that being said, what we're gonna do is I want to take this off, right? As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna remove these drawings. Now we're gonna get into some actual price target indicator, okay? I say indicator because I don't want to show too many indicators, because once again, I have to keep, as much as I want to help and make all of this stuff free, I have to be mindful and respectful to the people who have paid to come into my programs, my mentorships, STB. I can't go too hard and then they get mad at me, right? I don't want to. The worst thing you can do is ostracize and piss off the people who supported you over the years, right? So I don't want to do that. Number one. Number two, I'm just going to say this, and this is something I want to keep in everybody's mind. The more you show something and a bunch of people start using it, the less it works, right? If you want to do some research on things that have happened before, look at the RSI, look at the MACD, look at the Bollinger Bands, right? Now, you need to know about these. You need to know about them. You need to know how they work and why they work. But if you look back and you see about, these different indicators, you'll notice that they used to work really well until people on Instagram and YouTube started teaching about Bollinger Bands, RSI, MACD. And then what happened was so many people started using them that they stopped becoming as, they weren't as, effective. So we don't want to ruin anything that's working for us inside of trading. So I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to give too much of my, stuff that I teach my students, because I don't want to mess up their trading. Like, Tay, you've taught so many people that this stuff doesn't work anymore. It stopped working because too many people know about it now. So I have to be careful with it. It's a thin line. So I'm going to show a little something here today just to give you a price target. and then we'll go from there. Okay. And you can, you can screenshot this, voice record it, whatever you need to do, screen record. But yeah, you heard it first, where you're about to hear it first, where I think this thing is going. All right. So, first of all, this, my friends, is what we call a bear flag, right? This is a bear flag pattern. And what we're seeing right now play out is, I don't want to use that one. Let's see. Let's use this one. All right. So what we're seeing right now play out is a bear flag pattern. That's it. This is a bear flag. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm drawing it like this is because right now, what you are probably going to witness for the most, probably most of the rest of this year is, I don't think we're done. I think we're going to move up potentially to about 46. My price target is 40,000 because I believe that's 50% of the move down. So if we give a Fibonacci 50% retrace, this actually looks like a wave A, or a wave of, we're talking about Elliott wave. That's about an A wave. If that's what that is, A waves can tend to go as high as about 61%. So we can see as high as about 48,000, right? 48,000 on Bitcoin before we get our price target down here somewhere. Now, a lot of people think the bottom is in for Bitcoin. I call hoopla, I call BS, I call no sir. So what we're going to see is over the next few weeks, next few months, yes, we are going to rally. And once again, I'm calling my first price target should be somewhere around the 40,000 range because that's 50% retracement. We can see as high as about 48%, right? Once we get above 48%, it definitely gets less likely that we're going to make that fall. But I don't see that going above 48,000. So we'll see, though. We'll see. But if we can get above this peak at 48,000, then that could look very good for the bulls, right? Very good for the bulls. So we're going to take this off. Boom. I'm going to take these off. So that is, just to let you know, this is a bear flag. Fall and then rise. That is a bear flag. And then what you tend to see, what you'll tend to see most of the time with a bear flag is you'll see down, up move, and then a continued down move. All right. So that's kind of how this works. And this is what it looks like right now. That is definitely a textbook bear flag. All right. So we look bearish. Yes, we do have more room to go up to about 48,000. That makes sense to me. I am actually on board for that. However, what I see playing out here is what we would call, or what most people would consider, a head and shoulders pattern. Head and shoulders pattern. Okay. Now you have shoulder, head. This area all the way over to this area could be considered a shoulder, right? I would consider my neckline somewhere in about here, right? Somewhere around here. We'll make that white line. Boom. All right. So this is a head and shoulders pattern. This pattern has been playing out for tens and tens and tens of thousands of years. Tens and tens and tens of, I would say, even decades, tens and tens of decades. I can go back to the 1920s before, charting really didn't exist back then, but you can go look at the Dow Jones, you can go look at the S&P 500 back into like the 1930s, 1940s, even the Dow Jones back in the 1920s, and you can see this pattern still playing out, right? And what tends to happen is you get your head and shoulders pattern, you get a neckline, you get the break of a neckline. Usually it will hold the neckline as resistance. That will let you know that this is a very strong neckline, or that this is an actual good neckline that you chose. As we see, yes, it held support, support, support. Let's look to the previous. Look, there it is. We're coming up on resistance. So this thing should bounce. Like I said, it'll get us to 35,000 and it'll hold there. So we'll see. I'll be looking, to see if that's going to hold. Now, what we can do, once again, keep in mind, I'm not teaching this, all right? But I got to show my price target because I want to be the one, like I said, I want to be the one who told y'all. Y'all can come back here and y'all can watch this, all right? You can come back here and watch this. My price target, my price target, my price target for Bitcoin is 1,000. That is the lowest point that I could see it going, but I do think we can get down there. 1,000. Yes, you heard it correctly. $1,000. I will draw it again. $1,000. Yes, that is my price target for Bitcoin. $1,000. Yes, yes, yes. I think we're going to $1,000. You can call me crazy. Y'all always do it every time I pick something out and show you a price target and break down the charts. People call me crazy. They call me crazy, and then it ends up happening, and then boom, here we go. Right now, you can call me crazy on this, but I think it's going to happen. Now, we have a few areas we have to break down, because what'll happen is maybe buyers will buy it up, or keep in mind, stock trading, especially when it comes to charting, nothing is 100%. So I do have to be honest with you. Listen, this is what the chart is saying, and most technical indicators, they're like anywhere between 70 and 80, 90%, right? So what that means is if you draw 10 different, if we do this 10 different times, maybe 1 or 2 times out of 10, that price target is not going to hit. I can't do anything about that. But what I can tell you is that this is what the chart says, right? This is not what I want. This is not what, people are like, oh, you're being biased, you're being this, you're being that. You're a Bitcoin bear, you're a perma bear. No, I'm none of those things. I am a chartician. I do technical analysis. And as far as I am concerned, this is a head and shoulders pattern. And the neckline being broke based on history, how you determine the price target for a head and shoulders pattern, it is giving us $1,000. Once again, you can get mad, you can pout, you can give all of the hopium, whatever. Y'all can threaten me. I don't give a crap. I'm telling you what the chart says. Now, let's dive into it. Why would we need to go that low? Let's check it out. Because a lot of people are going to say, well, Bitcoin doesn't follow natural charts like that, Tay. This is one of those things. This, that's on a legacy system, and Bitcoin doesn't follow the legacy system, and all of this, just all this hoopla, right? All of this hoopla. So let's go back real quick. Let me set in a date of this price. All right, let's set in a date and let's see why. Why, oh, why would we need to go back to $1,000, Tay? That makes no sense. Why would we need to go down here, right? So this price action gives us around March 2017. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in March 2017, right? And what we're going to do is go back to this time frame and see what we have. Maybe it works. Let's go on a 4-hour. Right, so we're going to 4-hour. We're going to go back. Boom. Let's see if it takes us to it. Sometimes it gives us a little hesitation to get back there. Come on. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this thing down and see if there's any gaps or inconsistencies, what we call inconsistencies. We're going to see if there's an inconsistency there. If it is, then that makes sense why we may need to get down there. That would make perfect sense. Once again, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. So my internet is being trippy. Come on. Okay, so internet is being weird, but we're gonna get there. Let's give it some time. Look, that's one of the downsides of being in Puerto Rico. For those of y'all who want, Tay, where do you live? Do you really live in Puerto Rico? My first answer to anybody who says, do you really live in Puerto Rico? I said, have you seen my Wi-Fi? Have you been on a class with me and seen my Wi-Fi? Do you know how long it takes for me to get these videos uploaded sometimes? Have you seen the Wi-Fi is third world Wi-Fi here, right? Look, it is just taking its sweet little time. There we go. There we go. All right. So let's dive into it. Do we have any inconsistencies here? Right? Why would we need to hit this line? Let's see. Why do we need to hit this line or come anywhere down to here? Let's see. Oh, there it is. There it is. Right? I like this right here. That is what we call an inconsistency or a, some people call it, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it, inconsistency, gap. You can call it a threshold. I call it like a a buyer's threshold. That's how I was, taught when I wasn't taught this probably like most people would say. I'll just say it that way. I wasn't taught this. A lot of this stuff I back test and I see it play out, right? So we got a few inconsistencies back here. So we'll use that. One of my good friends calls it an ABC gap. Another trader I know calls it an inconsistency. Another trader I know calls it a wormhole. It just depends on who you are as a trader, right? So we got one back here as well. It went up, closed it, retraced, closed here, retrace, closed. I'd actually like to see this retrace. So I'd say 1,000 or 1010 could be a nice price target. I know that's crazy. I don't think anybody's gonna believe me. We have a few areas we have to get through though. So let's break this down. What are some areas that I'd like to see us get through? Right? What are some areas I'd like to see us get through first before we can even get down here? Number one, we have to break some of these swing lows, right? So we have to get back under here. That would definitely be one area. That's probably going to hold pretty strong here. We had a lot of buyers in there, so that's going to hold pretty strong. I've already told you I got 9,000 on the boards, right? And then here right now, that's been holding pretty strong. You got a lot of buyers stepping in right in here. So if you go back, look at that. That's why it's holding there, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. You got above it, it held support. Look at that, got above, held support right here. So now it holds support. It's a long-term support line, right? I'd also like to see this area hold. So that's around 13,000. So I do think we'll come back. We got three, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. I'd say about 4. You got some long-term support right in here. So maybe 5 areas. So you got about 5 areas you need to break down. So look at that. Support, 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 support. Resistance, resistance. Got above it. Support, support. Held it. So that is a long-term support. So what we're going to need to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you got 6 support lines to get through. 6 support lines to get through to hit that 1010 price target. Now, what could this mean? So I'm just giving away free game, right? I'm giving away free game. So what does this mean? For anybody who's like, well, Tay, what if it doesn't get to $1,000, but I really want to take advantage of Bitcoin, before it goes to 200,000? Then what I just gave you here, my friends, is scale-in areas, right? We call it scaling in. What that means is when it comes back to 15,000, you can buy some there. When it goes to 13, you can buy some there. When it goes to 9, you can buy some there. When it goes to 6, you can buy some there. When it goes to 3, you can buy some there. If it never comes down to 1, you dollar cost averaged your way. Okay, these were support levels that you dollar cost averaged your way in. If you dollar cost average using the same amount of money pretty much amongst all of these support levels except 1,000, because it doesn't get down there, then what ends up happening is you probably will get a cost basis around, let's see, 15, 13, 9, 6, and 3. You're going to get a cost basis somewhere around $8,000, right? And that's rough. Don't hold me to that. That's a rough number. But you're going to get a cost basis somewhere around that $8,000 to $9,000 range. So if it ends up going to $200,000, like I mentioned earlier, guess what? You got an $8,000 cost basis. That's great. That's great. That's really great. So once again, for my people who are worried about this may not, play out or whatever, then hey, average in. Now, 1,000, that's like I said, it's a lot of support levels we have to get through to get to my 1,000 price target. But I do think my analysis does tell me that we are going to touch at least 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3 down to 9,000. Why? Because once again, that gives us right in that support range that I was showing you, right? That gives us right in that support range, okay? If we go back and we look, so yeah, look at that long-term support from back here, held support, held support. So once again, if we come down sometime in the next year or so, we should get down here to those, $13,000 levels and maybe even the $9,000 level. That's what I expect. Now, if we can break underneath this, then we'll start to look at 6,000, 3,000, and then 1,000. But for now, I'll take those top three. Maybe I'll start dollar cost averaging at one of those three, and then we'll go from there. But I do see this thing eventually getting back bullish, and eventually, eventually we'll get back to, Bitcoin's glory days, right? We'll get back to it eventually. So, 2026, that's $83,000. So yeah, it's a possibility, very, very good possibility. So this is my breakdown for Bitcoin. This is where I see it going. Like I said, that's definitely a head and shoulders pattern. You can ignore it if you want. One of the biggest things I see traders do, or people who are not even traders, but they're trying to do some type of trading or investing. One of the biggest things I see them do is they marry a stock. They fall in love with a stock. They fall in love with a coin, a cryptocurrency, and it can do no wrong. And they start ignoring the actual indicators that are right in front of them, right? And this is one of them that a lot of Bitcoiners, they just ignored it. They ignored it. People had time to get out of Bitcoin right here when this broke, this neckline broke at 34,000. People had time to get out of Bitcoin right here. And, they wrote it down to 15. It's bouncing right now, but that's not it. We're not done. So once again, I hope this was very helpful. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, do all of that great stuff. Once again, I'm going to be releasing my beginners mentorship course totally free here on YouTube and inside of my Discord, my free Discord. Make sure you're inside of the free Discord. So when I drop exclusive stuff, like maybe some, I'm probably going to drop the ebook in the Discord group, right? So I'll drop my free ebook in the Discord group along with the videos to go with it. So you can kind of walk along as I teach. And yeah, I'm going to train you up. I'm going to show you how it is we get down inside of STB. All right. So appreciate everything, all the love. Please keep the love coming. That's what keeps me going. That's basically why I show up. The more love y'all show me, the more I'll continue to come in and teach. All right. So next time, I'm out.
Secure the bag, yeah, that's the brand, and we get to the bag. These